There are moments when your heart aches for someone your life no longer holds, and no one prepares you for that pain. You don't miss their presence. You miss who you were when they were still part of your world. The hardest goodbyes are the ones that were never spoken, only felt in silence. If this feels heavy to listen to, it's because your heart recognizes its own story. Some connections don't fade. They bruise, they linger, they quietly reshape you. You learned how to survive without them, but your soul still remembers how it felt to be safe. Nights became longer after they left, because memories don't sleep when love stays unfinished. You smile during the day, but your heart grieves in places no one ever sees. This isn't about missing a person. It's about mourning a future that almost happened. And if something inside you just broke open, it's because this pain was never meant to stay buried. The person who keeps appearing in your mind is not doing so by accident. They arrive quietly, not loudly, not with noise or chaos. They slip into your thoughts when you are least prepared, when the world goes silent, when your guard is down, when your heart is tired of pretending it is strong, and you wonder why. You tell yourself it is nothing. You try to distract your mind. You stay busy, you smile, you move forward, but still, they return again and again and again. Not as a memory you can control, but as a presence you cannot escape. This is not obsession, this is not weakness, this is not imagination. This is unfinished emotional energy asking to be acknowledged. Because the truth is this: the person on your mind is trying to do something you cannot fully see yet. They are standing at the edge of a realization that scares them, and you are at the center of it. Let's slow down, breathe, and listen carefully. Because this message did not find you randomly. It found you when you were ready to hear what your heart already knows. There are connections that pass through our lives like seasons. They come, they change us slightly, they leave, and then there are connections that don't leave, even when the person does. You didn't just cross paths with them, you disrupted them. Your presence touched something buried inside them, something they had kept hidden, something they were not prepared to feel. You made them feel seen without trying, safe without promising, understood without explaining. And that is dangerous. Not because love is dangerous, but because truth is. When someone feels real connection for the first time, it forces them to confront everything false they've been living. That is why you remain on their mind. Not because they miss you the way people miss comfort, but because they lost something they cannot replace. They replay moments that seemed ordinary at the time. A look, a pause, a silence. Now those moments feel heavy, loaded, meaningful. They ask themselves questions they avoided when you were present. Why did I feel calm around them? Why did my defenses drop? Why did their words stay with me long after they were gone? And the most painful question of all, why does my life feel less real without them? You didn't leave a gap. You left a shift, and shifts cannot be undone. They are fighting the urge to reach out. Silence is not absence. Silence is resistance. They have typed your name more times than you will ever know. They have written messages meant only to be deleted. They have opened old conversations just to feel something familiar again. And every time, fear wins. Fear of disturbing your peace. Fear of being too late. Fear of discovering that you no longer feel the same. So they stay quiet, but their mind does not. And when you suddenly think of them for no clear reason, that is often when they are fighting this urge the hardest. Energy moves before words ever do. Some people leave not because they don't care, but because they care too much. You represented something they were not ready to hold. Depth, consistency, emotional truth. Being close to you exposed their unhealed parts, their insecurity, their fear of not being enough. So instead of rising to meet the connection, they stepped away from it. Now, from a distance, they are trying to become someone they believe would have deserved you. They are working on themselves in silence, learning, breaking patterns, confronting truths. And sometimes, thinking of you is the only thing that keeps them moving forward. Not because they expect to return, but because you showed them who they could have been. Here is the part most people don't talk about. Some connections are not light. They are not playful. They are not easy. They are awakening. You didn't just make them happy. You made them conscious. Once someone feels that level of emotional exposure, they can never go back to shallow love. Pretending stops working. Distraction stops working. That is why they pulled away. But their mind stayed with you. You appear in their thoughts during quiet nights, during moments of success, during moments of loneliness. They try to convince themselves it wasn't that deep, but their heart refuses to agree. They are trying to let go. But letting go is not a switch. It is uneven, messy, slow. Some days they feel free. Some days they feel nothing. And then, one small reminder brings everything back. A song, a scent, a phrase. You were not just a chapter in their life. You were a turning point, and turning points are never forgotten. Here is the truth that hits the hardest. Sometimes people think about you hoping you can feel it too, not logically. Emotionally, they wonder if the cord between you still exists, if the pull is mutual, if the silence is shared. And when you feel them without reason, that is because the connection has not fully dissolved. Some bonds don't end, they transform. They are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to permanent silence. The other leads to uncomfortable honesty, fear versus truth, comfort versus courage. And you are on their mind because you represent the choice they are afraid to make. Now listen closely. This message is not telling you to wait. It is telling you to awaken. If someone is on your mind this deeply, it means something mattered. Something shifted. Something inside you was activated. Your job is not to chase. Your job is not to assume. Your job is not to pause your life. Your job is to remain grounded in your worth. Because whether they return or not, the connection has already done its work. It showed you your depth, your capacity to feel, your ability to love without losing yourself. And that is power. Final truth. The person on your mind is trying to become braver, trying to heal, trying to understand. But do not shrink your life while they figure themselves out. If they return, let it be with clarity, with courage, with readiness, not because you waited in silence. Some connections come back, some transform, some only exist to awaken us. And the most painful ones, they are the ones that change us forever. End. Don't miss the last message, because the last message, especially for you, listen, be carefully. If this message stayed with you longer than it should have, don't ignore that. Some feelings don't come to hurt us. They come to wake us up. Maybe this connection never became what you hoped. Maybe it ended without closure. Or maybe it still lives quietly inside you. But understand this. If someone is still on your mind, it means something real existed. And real things don't disappear without leaving.